Alright, welcome to the first video where we are going to go through and actually build a website from scratch. Now the website that I'm going to be building is the website that you are currently on. And I wanted to show you how to do it this way is because there's probably a lot of things that I didn't consider when teaching you that you only really realize is a challenge or a hurdle that you're going to come across when you actually go through the process of building it. So I thought if I actually show you the process step by step, you're going to see the exact process that we need to go through. So as we went through in a previous video, the platform that we're going to be using to build our courses business or our website is Wix.com. And yes, it's not the most sophisticated platform. There are platforms out there which are a lot better, offer better layout, better functionality, but it's going to require a certain level of skill set that most people don't have. And it does require a certain level of computer literacy, whereas the purpose of our course was, of course, aiming to deliver a platform that meets the needs of the most amount of people that still does a good job. And Wix is pretty good at that because it's easy, but you can also create a great scaling business out of it that does all the things that you need to do. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to Wix.com. And if you haven't signed up for an account already, I highly recommend that you go and do that. So you can do that in the top right corner, or when you log on to Wix, it'll prompt you to log in or register for an account. Now, the next step here is, once you're logged in, all of your other existing sites will be listed here as well. But the next step here is to actually create a new site. And when you click create a new site, it's going to prompt you to basically tell Wix what kind of website you're creating. And it's going to come up with a whole bunch of templates that you can choose from. So in our case, what we're going to do is maybe we can sell in course program, online course program, something like that could be good. So it's going to give you a number of suggestions to choose from. So I'm just going to click that. It's going to then populate kind of what kind of features do you want to show up on your website. So we want chat, yes. So this is basically a kind of pop-up thing on your website, which is going to allow you to chat with visitors, and you can do that from your mobile phone in real time. We don't really want bookings. We're not that kind of business because it's all going to be an online platform with pre-recorded videos. We want people to purchase it without us having to do anything, so we're not going to tick that. We are going to use video. However, our videos, we're either going to host it on YouTube or Vimeo. So we'll tick yes because we might host one or two videos on there, but overall, we probably don't need this, but I'm going to leave it ticked anyway. We're going to tick online programs. We're going to tick pricing plans, potentially a blog, because that's going to help you drive traffic to your website as well. And we want an online store as well. So it comes down to you whether or not you're going to do this. So the best way, and as you kind of saw with some of the other example websites, is to have multiple streams of revenue. One where you're selling courses where people sign up and actually want to watch your videos, and perhaps you can supplement that with additional revenue by offering, for example, notes to download or something else. So I'm going to leave it ticked for now. Everything else we can always add later on. We don't need to do it right now, but I think this is a good start for us. So I'm going to click next there. Okay. So we're just waiting for this. So we've got a couple of options. Number one is we can let Wix ADI to create a website for you, or number two, you can create your own website with the editor. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to start with a template and we're just going to customize it and make it our own. So let's click edit a template. The other option is it's meant to be like an AI approach where you basically answer a couple of questions and it'll come up with a custom template for you. But I think overall these ones, because they've actually had someone come and design it for you, you're going to get a better result. So what I'm going to do now up here, because you can see all the example templates of different stores, whether it's an online tech store or a blog or whatever it may be. So not all of these are going to be relevant, but what we're going to do over here is just search sell courses over here. So it's not going to be kind of a perfect solution for us to find a website that suits our needs, but there's a couple of good starting points which is going to save us from having to recreate the wheel here. So you can just scroll through. You can actually view some of the websites. Like if you click through, let's find one that might look interesting. So if you click here, view, it'll actually open up in a new tab and you can see what the full website could potentially look like. So it's still a little bit slow. So I didn't really like that one, but at the end of the day, there's so many here that you can choose from. You don't have to use the same one that I'm going to use. You can use a different style. But I had a quick look through some of these, and the one that kind of stood out as a nice starting point was this fitness instructor one. I just kind of liked how it was nice and clean at the top, so very easy. So let's have a quick look at it. It had some of the key features I was looking for. So it had kind of the plans and pricing. The menu was nice and neat at the top. I kind of liked how the website flowed down. It was very clear and easy to kind of understand. I like this little chat box, how they've designed it there. And you know what, as I said before, at the end of the day, if there's certain elements that you like and certain elements that you don't, it doesn't really matter because you can always change it later. So once you're happy with one particular template that you've decided on, what you can do is you can actually press edit this site up here. And what this is going to do is it's actually going to transfer across to your account now. It's going to show up as a draft in your account with that exact same template. And now what we can do is we can actually go and start customizing it. So changing the name, the images, the color scheme, the layouts, whatever you like. Okay, cool. So it's now loaded on my page. You can see it popping up now. Now just as a little bit of housekeeping. Now you can see on the side menu you've got different, you can click here and you can see all the menus and pages in your website that you've got. You can change kind of key elements of your site design, like the color scheme, the background, the transitions. Then you've got here which you can add in apps, so it's third-party apps, which we'll add in some of the Wix generated ones. You can add in your media, you can add your blog. If you've got bookings, you can put that in there, but we're going to remove that app. And yeah. Now, within this side of the page, you can see that essentially this will tell you what page that you're actually on at the moment. So you can quickly flick between the two. This will tell you whether they're in your desktop viewing mode, so from the perspective of someone who's on a computer versus a phone, or switch to your mobile view, so you can edit what the site looks like from a mobile perspective as well, which is a little bit different. Now, you can actually click on each element of the screen. So you've got your header up here, which is the top of the screen, and it's always pinned to the top of the screen. You can also click what is called strips. So each of the page is split up into these different sections, which, as I said, are called strips. You can add in a new one by selecting the edge of the strip and just clicking there, add strip. Or you can resize it by dragging this, or you can just edit each of the strips as we go down, as well as editing the content within each one. Whether it's text, you can just go in and type over the top, or if it's an image, you just click on the image and actually just change that. Everything on the page is clickable. You can also click up here, which is your zoom out and reorder. So if you really quickly wanted to reorder a strip, maybe we wanted to move this one a little bit down, we can do that. We can just click move down like that and exit out of that. Now, in terms of saving and publishing it, so we've obviously got the save function up here, which is just going to save a copy. It's not going to publish it live to the web by doing it. It's just going to save it to your account, so it pops up over here in your saved websites. You can also preview it, so you can get an idea what it would look like when it's live and actually play around with it, click through the links, etc., without having actually to publish it on the internet so people can see. And then finally, you've got your publish button, which means it's actually being sent to the net live. So any change you make here and click publish is going to go out, people can start using it. Of course, there's a number of steps we need to get through before it's actually going to go live on the internet. For now, we don't have a domain name set up. It's only going to be hosted on our kind of Wix account for now. So you'll have this, weird, annoying email like, trainingwebsite.wix.com. All right, so it's not ideal. For now, what we're going to do is we're just going to save it just in case, any changes we make now, flow through for later and we get it saved. So you can see there is our kind of long and complicated Wix name. So for now, I'm going to call it selling courses online to get my free Wix domain. Later on, we're going to purchase a premium plan and we're going to get a custom domain name. So for example, whatever we end up calling the website, we're going to have to see if it's available because there's probably a few of these available online. But we'll end up calling it, for example, sellingcoursesonline.com or whatever name we end up landing on. We haven't got to that step yet. So I'm just going to click save and continue, just so it is saved to my account, and later on that we can come and edit it. And just to show you that that has worked, I'm now going to go to my sites over here on Wix, which is just on your kind of, if you go to wix.com, it'll take you here. You can now see it's popping up on my website. It's not published because there's no image there, but it's just to show you that it is now saved, and we could go in and edit it or change settings on the site by clicking through on our profile now. So that's good to know that it's working. Okay, so for the first thing that we're going to go through is we're going to actually start updating some of the text and color scheme and images and things like that to customize it. And then we're going to change the template a little bit so it actually suits our own needs. Now this isn't going to be a perfect process. I'm kind of figuring out what I want as I go along as well. I'll try and pause to skip the boring bits, but I might make a couple of mistakes as I go. But it's all part of the process, and it's really important for you to see that and how my thought process is working, so you can go and replicate that yourself, rather than me just giving you a finished product and saying this is what you need to do. This is much better for your learning experience. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, I think I'm actually going to change this background picture. I'm just going to leave it as a solid color for now. But before I do that, what I might do is I actually might change my site's color scheme, because I don't really like this purple. What I want is kind of like a teal green. I think that would be a little bit nicer. Or I could keep the purple. Maybe I'll just keep the purple for now. But either way, what I want to do is I want to change this background strip, because this girl obviously has nothing to do with me. So you could eventually put in a video here, you could put in a photo, but what I'm probably going to go with is just a solid color for now, maybe an image to the side, like with a photo of the course. But later on I might revert to a kind of full image across the whole site. We'll see how we go. So I'm going to click color there. You can now see that these palettes have been kind of pre-populated by Wix, and this is simply because of the color scheme that we've chosen. These will be different depending on what color scheme you've selected. Let's go with purple for now. I think that'll be fine. As I said before, later on I might change this color scheme, and if you're looking at the website now, it might look completely different because I've gone with a different kind of style. This is really just showing you the process that I'm going through. So the next step is I'm probably going to change this text header. So we want something that's really catchy, that's going to really kind of summarize what your website's about in just a couple of words, and then we can go into a little bit more detail into the paragraph as to what this course is all about. Now I think, again, this might change with time, but we want to summarize the key points. So for my instance, what I'm doing is I'm creating a course about teaching others how to sell courses. So I might call it something like Learn to Make Money Selling Courses, or online courses. Learn to make money by selling online courses. Okay, so it's probably a little bit longer and bigger than I want it to be. As you saw from the template, it's typically only kind of a couple rows deep. So what I could do is I could drag it across like that and resize it a little bit. I could also kind of drag this down a little bit, but I want to leave some space on the right in case I want to put an image or something along there. Now the next thing that we want to do is we want to update this paragraph. As you can see, it's a lot smaller, but it allows you to go into a bit more detail as to what you're actually going to write. Okay, so what I might do is I might actually shorten this a little bit. So I might just say, learn to sell online courses. There we go. Learn to sell online courses. See, it's a lot sharper, punchier, tells the audience exactly what your website's all about within a couple of words, which is really what we're trying to achieve here. So in this paragraph down here, what we can say is take our online workshop in order to learn how to develop your own unique course in 30 days. Learn out online in order to learn to develop your own unique course in 30 days. And create a automated source of recurring revenue. Okay, so it's a little bit long. We can always wordsmith those words a little bit later and it kind of improve that. But at least we've kind of got a rough structure in place of what we're trying to do. Now we've got the buttoners here. So typically what we want to do is we want to have like a little kind of call to action button, which kind of prompts the user to click straight away. And that might take them to the the courses page to learn a little bit more about what they're going to get in that course. Okay, cool. So I'm kind of happy with that first section now. I've kind of got the text. What I might do is I might actually put a placeholder image there to give you an idea of what that potentially might look like. So what we can do is we can always update this image later. Let's go add. Just click there. And we can go image. And this is where you can upload your own images for the website. So it's going to prompt this media manager page here, and then you can select one that you've either uploaded before, or you can click up here, upload media, and select one yourself. You can choose from an online source, whether that's your Google Drive, your Facebook, your Instagram, etc. The default is just from your computer, so I'm just going to select here. You can also drag and drop. So I'm going to click here, upload from computer, and I'm actually going to go and find that. I'll pull one up from another business. Let's see what we've got here. So something like this could potentially be good. And again, I'll show you how to do this yourself and create a custom one of these. We're going to use Canva. So I'm just going to upload that in there, put it on the website, just on the main page, just so you get an idea of what this could look like. Again, we're going to fix all this. We're going to get rid of that background, and we're going to change the image a little bit later. But it just gives you a little bit of a rough idea of where we're heading for the structure. We'll come back and make it look pretty later. So the next section, what we want to do is, look, it's really up to you what you want to put in here. You can really do whatever you want. I actually don't like what they've done here. But what I will do is actually probably create my own. So I actually want to get rid of all of these ones and just create my own one. So what I'm going to do to delete it is I'm actually going to click here, zoom out and reorder. And that allows me to just very quickly look at each of my sections, reorganize it as I showed you before, or actually delete it or duplicate it if I, like a particular section. I'm actually going to delete all of these because I don't really like them. And I'm going to create my own now. So what I can do is exit mode. We go back to kind of our home page here. And I showed you before, when you go to the edge of the strip, you can actually press a button that says add a new strip. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a blank strip. So you can see all the different things you can add to your site, whether it's an image, a button, list, whatever it may be, or strip is just like a blank section in here. So I'm going to just select the blank white one over here. And it's going to populate it right below the top strip that you just had then. So I'm just going to drag this down to stretch it. It's going to make it a little bit bigger, as you can see. Okay, so what do we want to do? Well, there's a couple of things we want to get across. Number one, we want to kind of have a little bit more summary text as to what's involved. Online training courses, resources, all skill levels. We want maybe a video course overview, so there could be another section for that. And we'll talk through how to create these videos a little bit later on. It could be kind of an overview of some of the kind of key topics that we're going to go through in our course. So we could cover that. Finally, we could have a section on, what are the kind of key benefits of the course. So, whether it's, a certain number of hours of video, whether it's being able to watch it on PC, phone, iPad, whether it's, being accessible by any skill level, whether it's lifetime access, whether it's your rating by customers, all those kind of things we could put in there. You could put a section in for customer feedback. And then finally, throughout this website, we want a number of prompts, which is kind of our sales funnel channel, which is just number one, driving them to try the course for free. And number two, driving them to the purchase page where they can actually purchase a course. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this section is we want to have a little bit of a attention grabbing section, which also gives a little bit more context about, why customers should sign up to your course and get them excited to continue reading and to want to actually click on viewing a free sample of your course. So what I want to do here is I'm just going to copy this header down here. And again, you don't have to follow this exact structure. This is just a suggestion. It could be any structure you want, as long as you kind of hit the key points, i.e. giving them an understanding of what's in the course, getting them excited. This is what's going to be in the course. This is an overview, and then click here, a call to action. Click here to view your free trial course, and then a section to actually purchase the course. So as long as you kind of have those key sections, it doesn't really matter how you lay it out, and you might have a more creative way of laying it out as well. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have a little catchphrase that is trying to get the user or the reader excited about what we're doing here and excited enough to get them to sign up to your course. So for my case, it could be, everyone has something valuable to teach. And that gets them excited because they might be thinking that, maybe I can't do it. Maybe you need to be maybe you need to be a certain level of education, have a certain job, or have a certain IQ. And we're saying, well, no, you can do it. Everyone can do it because everyone's got something valuable to add. For you, whether you're doing a fitness course or whether you're doing an art course, you got to get them excited about that topic. So whether it's fitness, it's being excited to get healthy, happy, fit, whether it's about being more attractive, whether it's about feeling good. You could have a quote that says, everyone deserves a chance to feel fit, healthy, good, something like that, So in my one, I'm going to say, as I said before, everyone has something valuable to teach. And again, I might change this later on if this doesn't match with the current website as you're looking at it. It's because, this is a first draft. It's going to take a long time for us to actually master the website and get the flow and the key points and the key text exactly how we want it. So just keep that in mind if it is a little bit different. Now I'm going to add a little bit text below it as well. We want to get the user to understand a little bit more about what we're doing here, and it's difficult to do that with just header text only. So I've actually written some dot points in a Word document. I'm just going to paste them in. They're not going to be my final points. It's just a placeholder for now. But it's really just saying, look, today I'm going to teach you how to make an online course that makes money and helps others. And you've got to make these points convincing and real, right? It's not just marketing. You've got to have valid points here. So number one, it's never been better to deliver high quality education to people with an internet connection, right? Number of internet connections are increasing around the world. Number two, student debt is rising to the highest ever level, which means people are looking more towards an online pathway than just, the traditional going to university, or, people are learning micro courses and all kinds of, different ways of learning. Next, the online education industry is worth $300 billion by 2025. So it's obviously a lot of money out there and growing really fast. And finally, because of COVID, people are realizing the value of working and learning from home. Means there's never been a better time to develop an online course. So getting them excited to actually scroll down and click through to the next section and get excited, right? So what I am thinking about doing as the kind of next section, and you might notice that I'm kind of mixing up the color coding, is, and another way of doing this, instead of just adding that, what we could do is we could go back to this zoom out and reorder section. So what we could do is actually just duplicate this first section. Oops. And I'll just delete that extra space there and move this one down. So now you can kind of see that it's creating a pattern here. The only issue is there's a lot of text here. We don't want to make it too text heavy. If you make it too text heavy, the user doesn't really want to read it. So you've got to be quite selective in how you're using your text. But what I want to do here is actually add a video, and I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm just going to put a placeholder for now. But later on I'm going to film my own video and put it in there, which is basically really just covering this kind of text above, but also adding a personal touch to it and maybe kind of convincing them why they should kind of try and sign up to your course. So I'd suggest you do the same, once you've actually gotten to the stage where you've filmed videos, which we'll cover later, making your own video and putting it on your website. But for now, what we can do is just have a placeholder. We're going to do a YouTube video here. You can use Vimeo. If you prefer to use Vimeo, that's fine. You do have to pay for Vimeo to host your videos. YouTube is free, which is why I've kind of got it as a default option. But the downside of YouTube is, number one, it's going to link to YouTube rather than, Vimeo. People can find you on YouTube and they can find your account on YouTube. They can comment on your account on YouTube, and there can sometimes be ads. So there's a couple of downsides to using YouTube, but again, it's free. Most people use YouTube, and it can also be a great way to use as a marketing tool, so to get people to come and visit your website as well via your free videos on YouTube. So what we're going to do is we've got this kind of template over here. You can actually link this to a specific YouTube video. So for now, what I'm going to do is I am going to just put a placeholder video there, which kind of is on a similar topic, which is basically, how do you make an online course? But we'll update it a little bit later. This is just a placeholder for now. And we're also going to save it intermittently as well. We don't want to make too many changes and then, for whatever reason it crashes. And so there we go. So we've saved that. Okay, so the next section that I want to cover on this website is basically, we've gone through, we've said, this is what we're about. Next is getting them excited and wanting them to push through the rest of the website and click. Next is the video, which is, basically a much more engaging way of doing the step above. The next step that I want to cover is basically we teach you how to do it. And we do this in a step-by-step way so the user can actually see, okay, I know what my end state is. I know I want to create a successful course. So for you, it may be I want to get really fit and learn how to do that. Or for someone else, it could be something completely different. But this section, I want to actually create a step-by-step showing you, these are the kind of videos that we're going to go through. And I want to show you an example of what I was thinking, because I've done this for my Excel training website and I guess for my other educational websites. If I just bring this up on screen, you can see, you can see on this one, here we go. You can see on this one, I've created all of the videos that I go through step by step, so you can say, this is how we do it. And not only that, but we actually link this into the the video playlist that we have. So later on, once we're actually building our course, they're linked into the exact title, section, and we've got the user link and the data set at the back. So I might go through this in more detail, how to do this, a little bit later. But for now, what we'll do is we'll just create a placeholder here. We'll just create that. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to add in a table. So we want to list this, we want to link this into a list that we have. As I mentioned before, in that previous example, we want to make a list of kind of all the videos as we go, as we've made them. with a link to the YouTube address or the Vimeo address, depending on which kind of provider you've gone with, and the name of the video. Now, instead of manually recreating this, we're going to just link that to the data set once we've created it later on. And that way it's all automated. If we update a video or rearrange it or delete it or rename it, it'll all flow through automatically. So the first thing that you want to do is just make sure that you've got your content manager enabled. If this isn't showing up, just go to content manager and add to site, and then just add a custom collection to your website. Okay, after you've done that, you should get some additional options in your list section up here. So what a list is it's basically a way, or at least in this table section, is a way to connect data to a data sort and actually visually represent it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a table on there, and I think in the other example we had this one over here. I liked the design of that, so I'm just going to attach that. If you want, you can just create your own manual list of videos or just omit this section altogether. I like it. I think it kind of adds value. Again, this is just how I'm approaching it. Feel free to do it another way if you prefer. So later on, what we're going to do is we're going to connect this to our data set of our videos. So for now, I'm just going to leave it as a blank kind of section. And I might just add a text header which says something along the lines of, we teach you step by step how to do it, and then actually link it into the videos so you can see, okay, well, these are each individual step that the user is going to go through. So I'm just going to copy and paste that. So there we go. And then I'll just edit this text and say, we teach you step by step how to build a course. Something like that, or profitable course maybe. You just really want to emphasize the benefits of what you're selling. It's a little bit slow. Just edit this text. Okay. And then I'll maybe make it a little bit wider because we don't want going over too many rows. So these two lines here, you kind of want to try and fit everything in between. You typically want to avoid going over those lines because depending on what size screen your users are looking at, it might look a little bit funny if it's outside those lines. It's not the end of the world, but it's best to try and fit everything between those two, particularly for mobiles if you think about it. And once we go to the mobile view later on, fitting everything between those two lines, if you think about how narrow your phone screen is, it's not going to look great if you've got something really wide going across all of it. Okay, so that's that section done, and of course we'll kind of we'll prove it as we go, but for now that's kind of what we've got. Now the last kind of section that I wanted to go through with you, if we have a look at this example again, is just a final kind of call to action, which says to the consumer, okay, these are a summary of the benefits, this, and this, and we want to have a kind of call to action where they can either try it free or they can purchase the course. That's really where we want to get the user clicking through to, right, on your own individual website. So we're going to need one more section here. So I'm just going to create another duplicate. So I'm going to zoom out and reorder. So you can see the structure is really starting to come together. Yes, it looks very rough, but this has only taken us 30 minutes so far. So obviously with many hours of which it's actually going to take, it's going to start looking a lot more professional. But you can see how quickly it's coming together, and why we're using this platform, because it is so easy to use and customize and get exactly how you want. So I've just duplicated this purple section. You can see I'm kind of creating this repeating pattern of colors, just a little bit more aesthetic. I'm now going to exit this, and I am going to delete the video at the bottom because it's a duplicate, and I'm going to try and replicate what I showed you earlier about kind of creating that final call to action. And look, we're probably going to have a customer feedback section in there as well at some point. But given we're creating a new site from scratch, we don't want to put fake customer feedback on it. So we're going to leave that out for now. We can always add that in a little bit later. The approach for doing it is very similar to how we did it up here. Is essentially you create a repeater or a data set in that same section of your website. And what that does is it allows you, it allows you to connect to data, and you can actually connect that to a separate data set, which is your reviews. But we'll cover that later. We won't include it in the first build of this website because we don't have any yet. So we're just trying to build this call to action, which I went through over here. So to do that, what we're going to need is we're going to need a box, like a text box, maybe an image. Again, we can just use a placeholder for now. Some text and maybe kind of a tick box image as well, could be nice. And then 2 buttons, one linking us to a try free, which is kind of our funnel to get people to try it first, make sure they're happy, and then before they're ready to buy it, and then actually taking us to our purchase page. So the key elements we need, so box, text, image, tick box, icon, and buttons. So let's try and recreate something like this. So I'm just going to make this a little bit taller, just so we got enough room in there. And then next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a box icon. So I'm going to go to, and bear with me, it might take me a little bit of time just to find exactly where it is. So if I go into box, for example, what have we got in here? So yeah, this is kind of what we're looking for. So container boxes, we want a white one. There doesn't seem to be a perfect white one that we're looking for, but that's okay, we can customize it. This one over here seems to be the closest, or potentially this one here. So let's just drag and drop one of them. So we can just drag that over here. So now it's attached to the strip. You can see it's kind of similar there. We're just going to make it a white one and make it a fair bit bigger, like this. There we go. Okay. All right, and then we're going to add, we're going to change the design here. So we're going to change that to a white background. So we're going to go customize this, and then fill, we're going to change this to white. Yep. And then what else? We maybe want to, if you want to round the corners a little bit more, I think this is okay, but if you do, you can click here and actually change the number there if you want. So if I were to go 0, it would turn into a rectangle. You can see that's a rectangle now. Or if I were to go 50, it's probably going to start becoming more circular. So I think 30 is probably a good, 20 to 30 is probably a good number for rounded corners. And the final one, I think we wanted a little bit of a shadow. So if we just click enable shadow, you can choose the color and how far it goes out. So if you do a further distance, you can see down below it's making it look quite 3D. So that looks quite nice. And next we're just going to add some text over here. So we're just going to go text, and then maybe we can go title, attach that there. We obviously want to make sure our text is quite consistent with what we've got above as well. So kind of similar format, similar typeset, similar font size, similar colors, etc. So just keep that in mind as you're building it out. So one way to kind of get around that is just to copy some text that you've got above, if you do have one. So maybe we can copy this and just make it a lot smaller. That's one way of doing it. So I'll paste this here, and then I'll just reduce the font size. Just edit this text. And make this, say, let's go 12. It's probably too small. Let's go 30. Okay, That's probably good. And then we just want to resize this. There we go. It can be a little bit finicky at times. You can see this has now messed up the formatting a little bit. We can just drag this down and that's fixed the problem there. But it is a little bit finicky sometimes, but that's okay. Okay, so we've got our box, we've got our text. You can see now that because this is a container box, that all of the text and images within it kind of move with it as well. So we don't have to move everything manually. We can just move the container box and everything will move with it as well. We also want to include our text down here as well. So we can copy and paste this. So basically just recreating this over here. And we need two buttons and an image as well. So to create a button, what we can do is we can either copy the button from up here into our image, just so it's exactly the same, or we can go to the start menu, we can go add button this way, and choose a button. You might need to customize it. So you can also have kind of the buttons that we've got on our particular website theme as well. So there's one button. All right. And then we just need another button. So one, it was for the purchase full course. Let's change the text there. So this one is going to say purchase full course, and you can also choose where it links to. So you can either get it to link to another page on our website. So in this case, it might be a, we haven't created the page yet, but it might be, purchase course, or it could be a particular web address, or an anchor means like a specific point on the page that we've created. Could be the top or bottom. So you could have a button somewhere on the website that just says to the top, or one that says, take me to the bottom. Could be to an email or a document or a light box, which is a box that pops up on your website if prompted. So lots of different customizations there. We would want to do page and video course, or to a new page we haven't created yet. So that's what we want to do. And you can also specify whether you want it to open in a new window or a current window. So we're going to go current window for that one. I'm also just going to correct this spelling mistake that I've made. So purchase full course, yep, done. And then the other one we want is just a try free. So we're just going to copy this one. And this one is going to be exactly the same, but it's going to link to our kind of sales funnel page, which is essentially our free course that people can try. It's basically just a copy of the full course, but condensed for a number of free videos that they can try before they buy. Once they're happy, they can then go to this purchase full course page and actually pay money and get access to the full course. So for this one, we're going to link it to the other page, which we haven't created yet, so that's fine. And for the text, we're just going to call this try free. Great. So we're almost there. The only thing we need from the other example, as you recall, is we need some text and we need some tick marks and maybe like a placeholder image until we've actually created some images of our own, kind of like this one. What I'll do is, now that you know how to kind of create text, you know how to create buttons, and for the images, literally just go online and Google a tick mark, download the image, and then upload it the same way we did before to create an image earlier. So just go image, my image uploads. You can then fairly easily create something like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip ahead to do that, so that we're not wasting your time and we can get to the next steps in the lessons a bit quicker. Okay, so I've gone ahead and copied that across into the website. I've manually done all those steps. You can do that yourself as well. I've got a placeholder image over here. Obviously, we're going to update that and change that later on to suit our own website. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly update this text to give you an idea of what I'm thinking. Obviously this will be different depending on what you're teaching, whether it's finance, whether it's how to get a job in XYZ, whether it's how to write a resume, whether it's, how to teach art, whether it's, graphic design, whatever your course is, it's going to be dependent on, what you're teaching and what are the, the main strength and key items of your particular course are. So in my case, what I'm going to do is, just in the title, I'm thinking, it's going to be create an online course, or learn to create. I might need to make this text a little bit smaller to fit. Oh, actually, we could just make it a bit longer. Learn to create an online, a profitable online course. Something like that, And whether it's, for you, it's, learn to get fit in 30 days, or, learn to, be able to create an amazing, I don't know your expertise, it's completely up to you, but we just want, that header there. Now, what we're going to put over these points really depends on your course. Could be, how much content there is, could be how accessible it is. So for this first point, I'm thinking, maybe it's accessible by anyone. Work, I can wordsmith this later, can work for anyone. Make sales while you sleep is a good one. Because it's all automated, that money just comes in. Make sales whilst you sleep. Videos for all skill levels. Maybe it's videos for all skill levels. Maybe it's kind of like a certain number of hours of videos. Maybe we go 30 plus hours of content. I might change that one later. It's a little bit of a placeholder. The rating we can come back to later on. Lifetime access, once you purchase it, you get that lifetime access. And then we've got our buttons down the bottom, which actually connect us to our our sales funnel and our actual purchase page, which we will create probably in the next videos. We'll go through that. So I'm just going to create a little bit of space. And yeah, let's just do a quick recap of what we've done so far for this home page. We've got our header. We've got our first screen, which captures the attention, and our call to action button and a placeholder image. We've got our section to get people excited. We've got our video, which is basically just to put our text into words and add more value, and we'll film this later. We've got our section, which shows them all of the content that we're going to go through, which we haven't built yet, but we'll build that later. It's just a placeholder for now. And then finally, we've got our funnel, a call to action to the funnel and to the purchase page. And then we've got our closing footer down the bottom. Later on, we'll probably add in some customer feedback. Once that's built, we'll probably make it look a lot nicer. We'll probably add in, we'll probably build out that footer a little bit more as well. And maybe we could even add in some divider strips, kind of like how we've done in this other example that I've built, how we've got these kind of nice divider strips, which just added, an extra level of professionalism, and rather than just having two straight colors between them. But anyway, that's looking pretty good for something that only took, 45 minutes to build. Obviously, once we've spent, many hours on this, it's going to look so much better than this. We're going to refine the content, make it look better, maybe update the color scheme and the layout, etc. Maybe add a few sections. But this rough structure is a great first step towards building that kind of profitable online course that you are developing for yourself. So we'll conclude that first video there. And yeah, perhaps in the next video, we'll go through how to create those initial funnels, both the try free page, the purchase online course, and any other pages we need to go through.